Welcome back to the Spill Session, where every tear has meaning, every story matters, and everyone is seen. In our last episode, we talked about the term narcissistic abuse. Let's talk about traits of a narcissist, the kind that leaves deep, lasting emotional scars. A narcissist is someone who often lacks empathy, needs constant validation, and has an inflated sense of self importance. They have a charisma about them that pulls you in. They may tell you that you're special, different, or the best thing that ever happened to them, but it changes. They become critical, cold, emotionally distant. They blame you for everything, twist your words, or even make you feel guilty if you try to set boundaries. They deny your reality and make you question everything from your own memory to your own intuition.
Narcissists thrive on control. They shift blame to avoid being accountable. Nothing is ever their fault. And when you try to set boundaries or communicate that this isn't okay, they stonewall you. They leave you feeling isolated. As a result, you find yourself in a vicious cycle, trying harder to please them, feeling responsible for making them upset and unhappy, and feeling like the problem, or worse yet, the monster in the relationship. You want to see the side of them that you may have seen in the beginning, or that makes a guest appearance on occasion. But the truth is, these little moments of joy you experience are inauthentic. They're not genuine. They are just a mask and not the person before you. And the worst part about this? Most victims don't even realize that they're being abused until it's too late and they're in too deep. I know this because I've lived it, and Katie, so have you.
Yep. I think the hardest part, at least for me, was recognizing the true red flags. They make you feel special, they put you on a pedestal, they praise you, pursue you intensely, but sometimes I feel like, isn't that the way with the beginning of any relationship? How are you supposed to know? Is it real? Does it mean they're a narcissist because they're doing this? Is it always love bombing? Like, I don't understand. It's hard for me. I can't say the person that I'm currently having this issue with did any of that to me. So when someone does do it to me, I'm a little bit afraid. Is that a red flag I'm seeing?
It can be. And to be clear, red flags, generally speaking, can be anything that you think is a red flag. It could be clinginess, and not saying narcissists are clingy at all, but I just want to ensure that the audience knows that these red flags we're about to discuss are specific to narcissism. So if you see any of these and you see almost all of them, more than likely you are dealing with a narcissist. And I want to pay tribute to Dr. Ramani Durvasula. One of the books that she wrote, Should I Stay or Should I Go? And I apologize to Dr. Ramani because I think in our last episode I mispronounced your name. But this book really helped me personally to note that I was married to a narcissist, and my narcissist had a lot of these traits that I will list in this book. Number one, which is one that Katie and I have been talking about, lack of empathy.
It's a big one.
They're grandiose. So my narcissist wasn't really grandiose, but there are some out there that are vain. And as indicated in our last episode, a lot of people consider narcissism egotistical. But the truth of the matter is, some narcissists are very shy. But grandiosity is another one. Entitled. I think my narcissist felt entitled to a lot of things. If you ask him specifically, he would tell me that he didn't expect me to clean, or he didn't expect me to cook, or he didn't expect me to do everything by myself. Meanwhile, on the flip side, he would tell me I don't do bathrooms. So that essentially fell on me. That was the expectation he had. They manipulate you. Emotional abuse is manipulation. No matter what anyone tells you, it's a mind fuck. I mean, it's exactly what the word is. If you use the word fuck in any other context, especially physically, you're being fucked in the mind. Literally. Angry and rageful. My narcissist was angry and rageful. Lots and lots of road rage. To this day, I cannot be in a vehicle with someone that has road rage. It gives me severe anxiety and straight on panic attacks on occasion. And the only way I can control that is by driving myself around. Paranoid. A narcissist is typically paranoid. And one clear way you may see this is when they start to shift blame. They're paranoid with their own actions, so it's not, it's not them, it's you. Or, if they're a cheater, well, I'm cheating, so let's flip this around and say she's cheating or he's cheating. Hypersensitive. Do you feel like your narcissist is hypersensitive, Katie?
Absolutely. That's definitely one of his traits. He cannot, it's all a show. He cannot be insulted in front of anybody, especially, most especially in front of people. But yeah, he's very competitive, very hypersensitive. You can't insult him at all.
Jealous. My narcissist did not display any form of jealousy until the very end with me. He was jealous of one individual in my life. And that individual turned out to be a very special person in my life, but there was nothing like that going on at the time. It was just once. And maybe there were other times where he was jealous and just hid that from me. But Katie, I think your narcissist is consistently jealous.
Yeah, he's been jealous since the beginning. It wasn't it wasn't a crazy jealousy like I had experienced in a different narcissist, because this is my second, but it was definitely jealousy from the beginning, who I wasn't allowed to talk to exes that were still friends. I wasn't any friend that was a guy or a man was I was told was my boyfriend. So yeah, the jealousy was always there since the beginning.
Lack of guilt and lack of insight. So, they definitely don't have insight into anything you're fucking talking about.
Or guilt.
Yeah.
They don't feel guilty for any of their actions.
Nope. No remorse. No apologies. I never got one apology from mine.
Me either. It's always blame for someone else.
Needs constant admiration and validation. Meanwhile, you're stuck feeling invalidated because only they matter.
Mm-hmm.
They lie.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is a show. In my case, that was true. If you were an outsider looking at my ex husband's Facebook posts, you would think we were the perfect family. Meanwhile, no one saw what happened behind closed doors, but the show was he was a great dad, he was a great husband, and sometimes the public persona is all people see.
Yep.
Projection. This one's a big one for you,
That's
Katie.
a big one for me. Oh yeah, my narcissist, definitely one of the biggest things that I've recently come to learn about is he pointed out once on Facebook a comment he saw, and he pointed out that they're just trying to get a rise out of me, so I'm not going to fall for it. And then talking to you and our other friend, I realized that's projection. That's what he does. He tries to get a rise out of people. So he's calling someone else out on something that he does himself. Because he does it, everyone else does it. Because someone feels that way or is spiteful to him, that means he's spiteful, so everybody else is spiteful. He just calls everybody else what he is. It's a big one.
Greedy. I think in my case, whether it was materialistic items, when we got divorced, I even showed Katie, I have to laugh at this one. I recently, and this is me being nosy, because I blocked my ex off of all socials, but somehow, some way on Instagram, I saw a picture of my ex's current girlfriend next to my fucking foam roller. When we got divorced, I was looking for this foam roller everywhere, and I didn't realize he took it. I don't know how it got lost, but apparently, he was that petty or that greedy that he had to take my fucking foam roller.
And I'm sorry, I laugh because it's just so ridiculous of like what he chose to take.
And, this is a hard topic, but there are some things we can have fun with. And I think, that's part of the healing process too, that you can heal enough to find the fun in it and see that you come a long way and that these people no longer control you.
You have to laugh.
Definitely. Next one is emotionally cold. I cannot tell you how many times I tried to speak to my ex-husband. I tried to communicate. I thought I was the problem, so I wanted to fix it. I wanted to talk. I wanted some emotional substance out of him. And I was just met with a brick wall, or it felt like I would talk and I would scream and nothing would happen. I was just ignored. I was provided with one word answer through text or in person, or I'd be told to shut the fuck up,
Or
or
you're crazy.
you're crazy, you're a bitch, you're a crazy bitch. And that would make me a crazy bitch in a sense because I would emotionally react. So I remember when I was in the thick of my relationship and I still was in love with my ex-husband, this hurt me deeply. Oh, my favorite one, gaslighting.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one.
Makes you feel just like we said, you're the crazy bitch.
Question everything.
Yeah. And I would be like, maybe I am the crazy bitch.
hmm You start to believe it, and then you don't know what's real, and then you question yourself. That's why we feel like we're the monsters.
Yeah. And when I was done with it, the gaslighting was one of the things I really, really needed to work on. In my next relationship, I heard certain things that I reacted to that triggered me due to the emotional trauma I had with the narcissist. And I felt like I was being gaslit. And, you're probably questioning and saying, well, maybe you were, because, once you're in a narcissistic, abusive relationship, you question everything
Because you
going
think you
forward.
recognize it,
You think you recognize it, and you
and
do,
you're
but
triggered.
you're triggered because you think that everyone's a narcissist at that point, or you question your own reality, like, is this for real? Is this going to keep happening to me? It's insane. But I said it sarcastically, my favorite one, because this is one that stuck with me for a very long time and I had to heal from it. Next is cheap.
Hmm.
My narcissist, cheap.
Mine too.
As you can see, he took my phone roll. He
Yeah.
didn't get his own.
Yeah, mine was cheap too. Very since the very beginning, and I did not know that that was any sort of flag for a narcissist.
I mean, and granted, there are some cheap deadbeats out there, and then women, because let's be real, um, we're in 2025. We are not equals. I don't believe in equality, but I feel that each one of us should pull our own weight. And being cheap, whether it's financially or being cheap with love,
hmm
is still being cheap.
Yeah, not considering the other person at all is where I landed in that cheap category. It has nothing to do with needing someone to throw money all over you and oh, they're supposed to pay for the dates and all those expectations. No, by cheap for me it was just the lack of consideration that I was even there, and it was avoiding having to be in the situation of who pays. It was avoiding that situation altogether and cheap with time, energy, emotion, love. Sorry.
Just cheap.
No, just
No need
cheap.
to be sorry. Never takes responsibility. Blame game.
That is a huge one too.
No accountability.
None.
No apology.
Nope.
No, we're in this together. We're both doing the wrong thing. You're yelling, I'm yelling. Nope. It's all
Yeah,
your fault.
it's all your fault. Everything is your fault.
Vain. So we talked about this a little earlier, egotism. I don't think my narcissist was really vain in any capacity, at least not, for himself. But one of the things he liked to do with me, and I found this extremely odd, he would like it when other men would look at me. So in his mind, I didn't have to be a trophy wife or anything, but if I changed my hair color, it was a good thing. If I wore a specific outfit, it was a good thing. He wanted the attention on me, all eyes on me, and that made him feel good because someone else wanted me. Sounded odd, but he also liked the ability to feel like he was with a different woman all the time. Very bizarre.
Wow. Yeah, I think mine has a little bit of vanity, but nothing that really stands out. Just very worried about their own looks, smells, stuff like that.
Controlling.
And that can come in very covert ways.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about
My
how you feel controlled?
I didn't realize that I was actually being controlled until recently. It was just very covert, honestly, and that's a big deal for me. I feel controlled financially. I feel controlled even so much as leaving the house. Everything I do is gaslit or not necessary, or it just kind of I don't even know how to recount it. It feels like it just fell into place, and I didn't realize I was being controlled until now when I'm trying to get out from under it. I see how controlled I am, from the workforce to working, finances, raising our kids, managing the house. It's all his way.
And you have no voice in the matter.
No, because then everything is my fault, or my decisions. I have to question my own decisions because I'm constantly gaslit. It's just all the other things that just pile into it.
I will say that for myself, I did not feel controlled, and I think that was one thing I maintained independently. But my narcissist would have a problem with it, financially speaking, very early on, and this is a red flag completely. He hated that I had my own money. He would always tell me that his ex-girlfriends depended on him, and he wanted me to be more dependent upon him too. And I just was not having that. I, in my upbringing, it was always instilled in me to make my own money, to keep my own money, to have it, because you never know what happens. And that's one thing I'm grateful for. But later down the road, during our divorce, I lost a lot of it. It went down really badly for me because we had just bought a house. Things shifted quickly where I decided that that was a bad move. And I can get into that in a later episode, but control is not one I felt that he wholeheartedly did for me. He wanted to, but I didn't allow it. But the next one, unpredictability, was definitely something that made me walk on eggshells all the time. I did not know when he was going to rage next, and I was on constant high alert, very anxious. Uh,
Yeah, I walk cautiously. Not necessarily feeling like I'm on eggshells, but I am. I do try to tread carefully with certain situations and certain things because you just really don't know how they're going to react to it. They are unpredictable. Mine is too.
Takes advantage of others or you on a regular basis.
Sorry, I laugh because that is also a big one for me. I'm definitely feel taken advantage of and just not appreciated at all. I do everything. It's like we were talking about before. We do all the things.
Yeah, I felt that way too. I was a working mother. The only time I ever took off of work was on maternity leave. And after our first baby. I remember even working from home just to get paid. And for someone that wanted me to financially depend on him, imagine if I did. So he still relied on my money, and I know that, you've been stifled financially, and he still asks you for money.
Yeah, still chomping at the bit for my paycheck, but I'm not given any ample time to work for it.
Not allowed to work for it.
That's how it feels. Definitely not allowed.
So it's like, give me this. Oh, wait, well, that's not enough. Give me more. That's
Yeah.
not enough either. Give me more, give me more. And for me, working was part of it. Taking care of the household was the other part of it.
Raising the kids,
Raising the kids because he couldn't be bothered.
managing everyone's lives, cooking, cleaning. It's
Planning, taking kids to activities. And if he ever did it, which he did, it was a complaint.
yeah, yeah, or a big deal. And look what I did.
Yep, Mother of the Year.
Meanwhile, they just, go to work, come home, go to work, come home.
Next, reveling in others' misery.
Yeah, yeah. I think that, yeah,
Antagonizing.
yeah.
So I'm trying to think of an example in which this happened. I don't know, maybe there were times where I felt depressed or sad and I lost my job, and it was like, well, you should have known better. And it just felt like, what do you mean I should have known better? Well, like me, interview, get out of jobs, jump from job to job. There were days where I'd feel tired, and he'd come home and say, "Oh, you're in your favorite room." And by my favorite room, that was the laundry room. So apparently, me feeling, I guess, miserable or depressed and tired and exhausted was a good opportunity for him to make fun of me.
Yeah, in my situation, I think my narcissist, he reveled in others' misery because he really enjoyed the drama. He liked to see the drama other people were going through. He was like the nosy neighbor that had to stare out the window and, oh, what's happening over there? Why are there cops over there? What's all the yelling over there? And or oh, did you see this on Facebook? It was always like,
Someone else was stupid
mhm,
or dumb enough to do something consistently, and they're so much smarter and so much better.
yeah.
Does not like to be alone.
Mm.
Yes,
They need supply.
they need constant supply. I will say, I immediately went from one relationship to the next. It was my support at the time. I had no one in Florida and I felt seen. So I didn't do that because I couldn't be alone, but I couldn't be alone at that time because I felt like I was drowning. I felt like I could have died at any point, and it felt nice to be seen. That being said, one of the arguments I used to have with my narcissist was the fact that I could move on and leave him behind. He would not be able to live without supply. I didn't say supply, but he couldn't be alone. I remember saying this in many an argument with him. He has had 3 girlfriends since me. I have only had one serious partner that is still valuable to me, and I still try to maintain a relationship. That's how valuable this person is to me. But my ex just needs supply, needs someone to give him what he needs.
Yeah, mine hasn't really done anything to show that he can't be alone yet, but I do feel like part of the reason he won't leave, I feel the need for some reason to tell him, you can go find someone else while we figure out how to make this split happen. And I feel like he needs to go find someone else in order to make this split happen. And if I guess if I feel that way, then it might be partially because I feel he can't be alone.
Yeah.
But I guess now that I know he's a narcissist, I realize he needs supply.
And narcissists come in all forms, right? We were just talking about romantic partners, but our parents could be narcissists, our bosses could be narcissists, our brothers, our sisters, our children, even.
Yeah.
Our children can pick up on these cues, or we can inadvertently enable these behaviors. And so I think, although Katie and I are focusing on the romantic aspect, it's important to note that you can be a target with any types of relationships. Poor boundaries, speaking of, that's the next one.
I find that kind of a little bit confusing because, I mean, we all have traits of a narcissist, I guess. It's just a matter of how many you have, but I have poor boundaries. I think that, I don't know if he has poor boundaries, but I know I do. But I feel like I have poor boundaries, which I never really did. I had boundaries and I held them strong. It's just in this relationship, they've been torn down. So I don't really know about him.
I don't think that's one that my ex exhibited necessarily. So I will read what Dr. Ramani said about core boundaries, word for word. So again, the book is Should I Stay or Should I Go? Modern technology has turned boundary violations into a day to day series of landmines. Whether it is text messages or emails from former partners or overly amorous coworkers or inappropriate social media posts or comments, these kinds of signals are indicators of boundary problems. Okay, so in reading that, I will say that I would account that to him having a poor boundary with me. But since this ties into understanding the basics and red flags in the beginning, he would talk to other women. I remember him talking to an ex, even sharing explicit sexual flirtatious AIM messages. I don't know how old any of you listeners are, but AIM is a messenger service that happened for us millennials years ago, and it was still a thing in our early 20s. And I found some of those. And his response was, "Why are you looking at my private shit?"
Mm.
There was another red flag. He was also talking to a minor, 17-year-old. And he continued to talk to her even after he and I were official. So, with poor boundaries, yeah, I guess he had them. Right now, it escapes me. I can't recall anything later on in life, except he didn't respect my boundaries, particularly sexually. He just felt the need to coerce me all the time. So, yeah, I guess everything is either about other women or about me not giving in. Infidelity. I am not certain that my ex husband was not unfaithful. I don't think he was, but part of me after the divorce questioned it.
Yeah, if they are, they can be very secretive about it, and you would never know because they're constantly so unpredictable. And why are you in my shit?
Yep. Doesn't listen. Oh, yeah.
Oh
I think I even brought this up before.
yeah, and I mean, mine will outwardly say, "I don't have to listen to you. You can't tell me what to do.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm gonna do what I want."
Yep. You have no control over me. You're not my mom. Don't act like my mom. Yet you're acting like a child. And listeners, this is not intended to be a bashing session, but it is a form of therapy for us, as well as we hope that you are able to see or be seen through these signs.
A lot of it's cookie cutter.
It really is. They're fragile. My ex did not like being told what was wrong. And I'm not saying that he was wrong entirely, but if his ego was diminished, I think he had an issue with that. So he never wanted to see what was wrong in the relationship, didn't want to discuss it, didn't want to fix it, and just left it as is.
Yeah, I get a lot of I'm not wired that way. I wasn't raised that way.
There's always an excuse as to why nothing will change. And although I think it's safe to accept your partner for who he or she is in a healthy relationship, if there are a lot of these traits within your partner and you feel like you're bashing your head against a wall trying to figure out what you're doing wrong, chances are you're doing nothing wrong and you're just having a hard time with someone that's unwilling to change for you and someone who's unwilling and incapable of doing change.
And that has to
Yes.
do, sorry, that has
Yes,
to do
no,
with the
yeah.
lack of accountability.
Yeah, they're just narcissists are wired in such a way that Unfortunately, it's so sick that they just can't do it, and it's very damaging to someone who's an empath. And most of the time, empaths are the ones that wind up with narcissists. The next one's careless. In my case, his driving was very careless. It feeds into the anger and rage. I had to start taking control of driving and would drive us everywhere simply because I was afraid he was going to kill me and the kids and himself and just not care. I brought up moving into this house that I currently still live in. And we used to live in an apartment prior to this. And before we were approved on a loan and could move into this house or knew we were moving into this house, he decided to take it upon himself and tell the apartment complex that we were moving out. And those apartment complexes rent out apartments very quickly. And it was looking like we almost were homeless because the loan almost didn't get approved. And long story short, the reason for that was because we left behind a condo in the Northeast that got short sold. And we didn't wait the appropriate amount of time before we decided to buy again. And there was a lot of stress, a lot of nuances, and I was panicking. I truly thought we were going to be homeless. And when I expressed that in anger and dismay, I was just panicking. His response, and I will never forget this because this was my cutoff point from him. This was when I decided I was done. He said, I don't give a fuck. A man that was a husband and a father told his family, I don't give a fuck if we're homeless.
Yeah, I get that all the time. I get that a lot too. I guess that's cookie cutter. Mine's careless with money, careless with belongings, spends money like it grows on trees, just get a new one, doesn't take care of things because we'll just get a new one, doesn't put things where they belong, where they came from, it's just throw it around. Then things go missing, it doesn't matter, just get a new one. Yeah. And then I don't give a fuck, just get a new one. Or we're going to end up losing the house. I don't give a fuck. So we'll be homeless. Then we'll just sell the house. Just very irrational
Thinking,
thinking comes from that.
and it makes you feel like shit because you wind up thinking that you're the problem
And you're alone.
and you're alone in the process, and you wonder, what could you have done differently? Because that's what I always wondered. And when he told me that, I felt like I needed more control of the situation. I was just in disbelief. And I was already close to walking out that door. I just, that was a big one for me. And getting external support on top of that from my subsequent relationship was even more so of a reason because I needed more emotional support. And that might have been the right thing to do or not the right thing to do, but I knew that I needed out of my marriage to someone so toxic.
And then when you want to take control, they have a problem with that too. You want to control everything, or at least that's the case with my narcissist. I try to take control because things are spiraling, and you just want to control everything. I want to fix it. I want to make it so we're not going to be homeless. If you don't give a fuck, I need to take care of it.
Exactly. And there's not much control we have with people like this. There's only so much we can control. And it starts with you. You control your own life. And if you have children, sometimes I won't get into the legalities, sorry, of this, but every state is different. And like I said, I did this methodically. I had to look into what was appropriate for me. And there was a ton of shit I needed to deal with after the fact. I had to live with mine for 6 months before he officially moved out. And it was torture. It was hard. I felt unsafe all the time. But if at any point you feel like you need to go, then just go,
Or if you feel unsafe.
particularly if you feel unsafe. And the last trait in this list is seductive. When I first saw this, I thought My narcissist didn't really have any seductive traits, but if you read further into it, and I'm gonna read some of what Dr. Ramani says here, they're experts at winning the game, and trust me, folks, this is a game. The way you win it is by leaving and by not giving them the supply that they want. You getting angry, that's supply for them. They're charismatic, charming, and confident. The outside world, in my case, saw a good hard worker. His coworkers would praise him. His friends, especially girlfriends, would praise him. Intelligent and well informed. I'm not sure if he was well informed, but he was definitely intelligent. Any of these ring a bell to you, Katie?
Well, not maybe. I'm trying to consider. I know the word itself when you first say seductive.
Attractive,
Yeah, he's definitely attractive. He has an attractive personality. He's charming.
passionate and creative, articulate,
No,
great branding,
maybe articulate, great branding.
visionary.
I also
So they
think
paint
that,
a picture for you or a story and make you believe, what I see in your case is, I'm going to take care of you. He seduced you into thinking you would have the perfect life.
yeah, yeah, and if you actually take the word at its most basic form, seductive, and what everyone's mind goes to, the
Right.
sexual aspect of things, he thinks that that can solve things and motivate people because it motivates him, which is projection. So it all kind of wraps together. But yeah, I definitely, he definitely pumps up the charm and makes promises that were empty. That seemed really good. I'll take care of everything. You won't have to worry about a thing. Nah, that was lies.
And from those lies, it is hard for us to discern what's the truth and not. There is so much pain that comes from it that we must learn how to recognize all of these red flags and then some. But with that, we are out of time at the spill session. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe and tune into our socials for engaging content. On the next episode of the spill session, we will be talking about the basics of narcissistic abuse from our own lenses, our personal stories, from gaslighting to love bombing to triangulation and more. We will even consider talking about how our childhood traumas brought us to this place of narcissistic abuse. This topic is very difficult. Our stories are hard to talk about, but we believe in our mission and want you to understand that you're not alone. So please stay safe, be well, and see you next week.